Welcome to the Art of Adventure. This is episode 165 with Carolyn Weiler. And that's in American. I'll try in a minute to say it in French. The Art of Adventure is the podcast that helps you travel the world, run your business, and embark on an epic quest. I'm your host, lead explorer, and guide, Derek Loudermilk. You can go to derekloudermilk.com to check out the show notes for this episode and sign up for your free guide to the top 10 ways to earn money online while traveling the world. I'm coming to you from Zadar, Croatia. That's where we'll be for the next 3 months. Counting down, it's actually maybe 10 weeks now. And if you've been listening to this show for a while and you think you might want to do some location-independent business, some traveling with yourself or your family, then I encourage you to hop on the phone with me. I've got clients in Spain, United States, India, Indonesia, England. They're all creating awesome new businesses right now around what they love that are going to be location independent. So very exciting stuff. Book a free 30-minute session with me. You can head over to my website. There's a coaching page there, or just drop me a line, derek@derekloudermilk.com. That's my email. So today on the show, my friend Caro Weiler, we have been friends for a couple years now, and we were having lunch one day, and she said, "I think we're gonna do this travel storytelling festival, and it's gonna be in Belgium, and we're looking for speakers." And maybe she said, "Do you know anyone?" And I said, "I'll be your first speaker." And right then and there, this was just weeks after they decided that they wanted to try it, I committed to being a speaker, and they made the event happen. And I think they ended up with 1,500 people at their first event, and since then they've had a weekend at a castle in Belgium, and it's really started to take off. So that's what we'll hear about first, is the Travel Storytelling Festival and how she organized it, how it came to be. And then we'll hear about her second business, which is visual story mapping. It's basically a way for people to visualize their personal journeys or whatever topic they want to visualize using artistic mind mapping. And she was starting to do this for herself and then was asking other people to participate. And I luckily got to be one of the early participants in that business as well. So this episode is kind of in two parts. First, the Travel Storytelling Festival, and then mind mapping, visual story mapping, how it works. So she'll give you some tools that you can try it on your own, which enhances direction and creativity. So this is a really full episode. So without further ado, here is Carolyn Weiler. Welcome back to the Art of Adventure. I've got my good friend, I'm going to try to say this, your name, how it's supposed to be said. Carolyn Weiler in French. Is that
perfect? Yeah.
Caroline
Weiler.
Caroline
But in English,
Weiler.
it's Caroline Weiler.
Caroline
It's
Weiler
kind of like...
in American. All right. So we met a couple years ago. Now, maybe was it New Year's or Christmas?
A little bit before, I think. So mid-December. Yeah.
Mid-December in Bali, where we both were, and that's where you are currently.
Exactly. I'm in Ubud.
She's in Ubud. That's where I was living. I'm recording this from Zadar, Croatia. And the last time we saw each other was in Belgium at the Travel Storytelling Festival. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a couple things today. Caro is the founder of the Travel Storytelling Festival and visual story mapping. The two things in common there is storytelling. So tell me about storytelling. Why is storytelling such a part of your life?
Storytelling is really important for me because it's stories who are touching the heart of people. When you're telling a story to someone, and it's from your own experience, they can relate to the experience. They gonna think it's personal, and it's gonna create something inside of them with more powerful than just reading something with uncommon or unpersonal. It's all about touching people.
Yeah. With the Travel Storytelling Festival, let's start with the festival. The first one you ran, I was a speaker. The second one was at a big chateau or castle recently.
Yeah.
But for the listener, could you tell us what's the idea behind it?
Okay, so I'm the co-founder of the festival. I'm working with my business partner, with Sylvie. And we first got the idea of this festival to inspire people to travel in a different way. So the fact is, you see a lot of people who are traveling kind of as tourists. They just move around and they're going super quickly in a destination and they don't know anything about it. And they're just going to go to the same place over and over. And they're not going to properly know the country and the culture and the tradition. And they're not going to have any project when they travel. So we want to inspire people to be connected to the country where they're going, to have a project when they travel.
Why do you want people to have that experience?
Oh, it's because it's so great to be able to travel and to learn at the same time, you know? It's like most of the people, they don't take the time anymore to just slow down and take the time to meet people, to meet locals, to know better. And it's like travel, like in my opinion, it's the best way to learn about yourself, about others, about culture, about everything. So you have to be aware of that and just give you the opportunity to create something from it.
Cool.
We had the idea of the festival to do that and to give the opportunity of like to create kind of a gathering of like passionate travelers who will be so passionate about stories and so passionate about experience and like their journey that they will be super grateful to hear amazing stories from people who travel the world. So that's why we built a festival when we were just organizing some talks, some workshops, different activities, exhibition, concert, and everything was related to travel. And it was amazing because so many people came and they were like really inspired. It was like, that's great. I just listened an amazing story who maybe gave me the courage to just quit my job and travel the world, or maybe get out of my comfort zone by just climbing a huge mountain because that guy told me about it like for an hour, and if he can do it, I can do it as well. So it's just like inspiring people to do like something else and to do more and to get out of their comfort zone, because most of the time you're just following the same like path as every single tourist. You're going to tourist trap and you're gonna get stuck in the same resort and like hotel that everyone else, when you can just create something from your travel.
Did you hear stories of people that came to the festival that then decided to do something? Did it lead to people creating or doing things that you heard about?
A lot. So at the castle this year, one of the facilitator, we invited some friends to give some workshop, kind of like dance meditation, because the festival this year was a sleepover weekend. So every single participant was staying at the same castle. It was like completely different as last year when people were going home after the day. And one of the facilitator went to our festival last year and she quit her job after, and she decided to go to the Annapurna and do a yoga teacher training. And now she's a yoga teacher and she's traveling the world, and she was the yoga teacher during the festival.
Wow.
And it was like amazing to just listen her story, and she was just about like, it was so inspiring to listen all those stories from people that I just wanted to create something for myself. And we just got like 3 new messages like in the last couple of months of 3 people who attended the event at the castle this year. One who was like doing a lot of expedition in the Antarctic, in Alaska and stuff like that. And he just decided to quit also his job to be a mountain guide. And just like that, it's just like, it's my passion. I love it. And why am I only able to do it during my holiday? And like when I'm traveling, it's like, it can be my job.
Wow.
So that's great. That's
cool.
Really great.
So I think that may be what you were hoping for. Is that what you expected to happen?
Like, I don't need people to quit their job to travel in a different way, but it's just like, it's so great to listen people who got motivated by other people's stories to kind of create something for themselves. That's, I think, the most, like, the powerful thing that we want to create. It's just like, it's your life, you're only living once, and are you living the life that you picture for yourself when you were a kid? And are you just like living your dream? or are you dreaming your life? And are you taking action to just like do something? And most of the people, they're like, okay, I want to do it. I want to travel. I want to create my own business, because it's not like the common topic about the event that we're organizing is about travel, but we also like share stories about like how you can build the life that you want, how you can just create a business when you are abroad, and like we kind of mixing stuff like travel, entrepreneurship, and different values that we like, that we want people to just be comfortable with.
Super. How did you and Sylvie meet and come up with the idea?
So we met in September 2015. I was the one who sent her a message through Instagram, because she was a friend of a friend, but I was like following her on Instagram, and she was also kind of like an entrepreneur. She was creating those amazing travel notebooks who are like tailor-made for the people who are like traveling. So imagine someone is going to Thailand and he's going to order like a travel notebook from Sylvie, and she's going to create it like specifically for that person.
Wow.
So I wanted to meet like great entrepreneurs who are like creating some stuff. And I was talking about an idea that I have, like to build a specific website to give the opportunity of travelers to meet local when they travel, just like to learn more about the place, the country, the city where they're going, related on their personality. And when I told her about the project, she was like, oh, that's amazing. That's a great idea. And I was like, okay, do you want to work with me? And she was like, yeah, of course, I didn't expect that. And we were just, if we want to build a website, we need some money. So we need some investor, because we don't have money. So to just attract investor, we need a community behind us who believe in the project. So if we want to build a community, we need to organize events, because that's when people are going together, and that's when you can just kind of like pass your message. And that's how we just decided to create like a small evening who became like a huge festival, because we had so many ideas, and we were just, there was like so many people who have like great stories. So we just want to give them the opportunity to share their knowledge and their experience and their journey, because I'm a strong believer that everyone has a story, and everyone can make an impact just by telling his or her story. It's just, it can touch the heart of someone else, even if it's like a super small detail. And you don't need to have like an amazing life, and who am I like to define what's amazing and what's not. It's just like everyone has a story, just so share it. Maybe it's going to inspire someone.
So what I heard in that story was that the Travel Storytelling Festival was a means to an end. The means was to build a community so that you could have momentum to attract investors in this other thing that you wanted to create.
Yeah.
Is that still the plan?
No, that's not. Because the thing is, we are so passionate about people and meeting people that we don't want to be stuck in an office and being kind of a CEO of a big business as a website. We just want to organize event now, because it's so magic to just be able to gather all those inspiring people together, and that's enough for us. That's now just having kind of this rewards of like having people sending us message saying, I spent an amazing weekend. It just changed my week. It changed my months. I was super depressed, and I met amazing people just in the weekend. And it was just like giving me hope that I can just create something for myself. And that's so powerful. So having a website is not what we want. And I think we realized it like super quickly. And now we are super happy by just organizing events and meeting in amazing people, and just, we are always kind of in the process to create some new stuff for the festival, like new events. We have 3 different events. So we have the big festival, the one that you attended last year, who was like 4 days of like talks, exhibition, workshop, activities, and everything. We have the getaway with the castle weekend, which is kind of like the same offer as the festival, but except it's a sleepover weekend, and we just added kind of like the topic of the travel, but also the nature. So it's like how to reconnect with nature, like by slowing down, by doing some meditation, yoga, dance, running, and stuff like that. So it's a mix between well-being and stories at the same time. And the third event is Once Upon a Travel. It's kind of a open mic night when we gather people over drinks and food to just kind of like doing a small event in an evening, and everyone can grab the mic and tell a story or ask some advice about a destination, or ask, okay, I'm going to Thailand next month. I don't have a buddy, so who wants to go with me? It's just kind of like a nice evening when you can meet other passionate travelers.
That sounds like something I need to do here in Croatia. That's a great idea.
By the way, and it's super simple.
I steal lots of ideas, good ideas, when I hear them. Wow. Okay. So if someone was coming to you and they said, I want to put on an event, whether it's similar or, you can put on an event anywhere in the world. You guys started with your hometown of Brussels.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to first-time event promoters, organizers?
Delegate. So don't be alone to just like build a team and delegate a lot, because you cannot do everything by yourself. That's the first thing, was like really, really important. At the beginning, Sylvie and I, we were just like, the festival of last year, we did everything, the two of us. Like finding the venue, the sponsor, the partners, the speakers, every single details for the logistic, sound system, the artist, exhibition, everything, like to rent some tables and chairs and everything. And it was a lot. It was really a lot, especially because I was also like in Bali at that time. So we were organizing the festival apart. So she was in Brussels, I was in Bali. And yeah, first it's just like you need to have a team who is passionate as you about the project. And second, it's just like, don't rush. Just try to find to pick a date, to find the venue who will be perfect for your event. Because for us, it's really important to create a specific atmosphere, like a chill place when people are kind of feeling at home. Even if it's a travel event, it's kind of nice to be cozy. And because when you're listening stories, I think it's really annoying to be to sit on a chair for a long period of time and not being comfortable. So we love the idea of having couches or some cushion or being really in a really nice room. So pick a date, find a nice venue, and be surrounded by amazing team members. And after, it's just you learn in the process how to think about every single details, and you will be always kind of be surprised by something you didn't expect, kind of like a super small detail. Yeah. It's just, when we did the event in the castle, we were just it's going to be super easy because everyone is going to arrive at the same time, and after they all check in the hotel, it's going to be super easy. But during the entire weekend, there was still people asking questions and small details, kind of the food and oh, but the mic doesn't work, or okay, it's raining, so we need to change the room that we were supposed to have the talk. And it's just every single time. And at the end, it's just you just need to be okay with it. It's just try to be as relaxed as you can when you're an organizer. And that's why when you have amazing team members, you can relate it to them and you're not alone in the process.
Yeah, upcoming interview that's similar to this one I'm doing with the organizers of the Zadar Outdoor Festival. And it was pouring the rain for two of their events, the sailing event and the swimming event. And there was huge waves and they had to cancel the events. And I know that they were probably disappointed, but what can you do? You just have to roll with the punches.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you never know what's going to happen, there is always something. But it's like last year when we did the festival in Brussels, like 3 weeks before, there was like this terrorist attack, and we received like a lot of message saying, okay, is it safe to come to Brussels? Is it okay? There is like some issue with the subway, and we don't know if we can just go home after the event because it's over at 9 p.m. So there was like a lot of question. And when you're organizing that kind of event, you like, it's not only there is like always something that can happen, and you have to deal with it, and it's okay.
Yeah, I remember all the patrols that were out in the streets.
Yeah. It was safe, but people were feeling kind of unsafe in the city. And we were just like so sad because the minute the attack happened, like in Brussels, we received all those messages and saying, okay, do you think you're going to cancel the event? And we were just like, if the government or if the security or the police don't ask us to do it, we're not going to do it, just because maybe we will have like less people than we expected. It's just, for us, it was like kind of a thing to just like do it.
Did it affect your attendance?
We don't really know because it was the first event, but I think so. Because the venue was in a neighborhood where like most of the people are feeling unsafe in Brussels, and it's like for us that was the point to organize it there, because in our opinion, when you travel, you never know what can happen. You just like, you have to be able to just kind of like being okay with what's going to happen. So you never know. And that's why we chose that area, because we know that it was in a part of Brussels that most of the Brussels people, I'm just like, oh, it's far away. Oh, I don't know. Maybe, no, I'm not used to go to that area. But at the end, like the people we know, they came. But maybe some other people were afraid, or were just like, yeah, we don't know.
What opportunities arose because you put on the festival?
For me and for Sylvie?
Yeah.
It's easier for us now to work with different people, kind of like artists, kind of like speakers and everything. We were invited to kind of like co-organizing a festival also in Amsterdam last year. So last summer we organized the program of one day of like also a travel event in Amsterdam. And it's just because of the festival, they learned about the festival in Brussels, and they was like, that's amazing. We want some of our speakers. So just, can you come with your speakers in Amsterdam? And we were just like, yeah, of course. And also because we were like working with different artists at the festival, like concert, like musician and stuff like that, it was easier to work and to organize like different stuff somewhere else. I don't know if it's clear. I'm kind of like lost in my thoughts now.
Yeah, I get this feeling, usually when I give a talk, people come talk to me afterwards. They're interested. Some percentage of people will say, let's work together, or I want to hear more. I want to follow your podcast or something like that. And putting on a huge festival, I can just assume, had so many people thinking, how can I work with Sylvie and Caro?
Yeah, we received like, I think it was like more and more now, we receive like a lot of emails and message on Facebook saying, okay, I'm a speaker and I want to collaborate, or I have this festival somewhere and I want to learn about your festival. Or also the fact that we decided since the beginning that our festival is going to be like a nomadic one, so we can organize it like everywhere. It doesn't have to be only in Brussels. So if someone is interested to organize it like somewhere else in their country, we are super open to give them the opportunity to be an ambassador of the Travel Storytelling Festival. So we received some emails also regarding that. We want to be the one taking care of it. I think a month ago I gave a talk here in Ubud, and some a girl from Russia. She said, "Oh, no, not from Russia, from Ukraine." She said, "Oh, I will be like super interested to organize in Ukraine." So there was like always some people. Also last year, you remember Shalize, like the Iranian girl?
Yes.
One of the speaker, she also said, yeah, it will be super interesting to do it in the US, and it's also like some idea and everything, but we don't want to rush anything, you know. It's been only 2 years, like almost 2 years that we are like running it, and Sylvie and I, we both have like our own business on the side, so it's like always kind of finding the perfect balance between our two projects. So yeah, we don't want to rush opportunities, but we had like a lot of people asking us to talk about the festival in itself, how we build it, how we work, with who we want to work and stuff like that, kind of like being a speaker in different events.
I think this is a perfect time to segue into visual story mapping. You mentioned you do this other business on the side, and that started about the same time, as I recall. So how does visual story mapping fit in with Travel Storytelling Festival?
So,
or does it?
It does, exactly. Yeah, it does. The thing is, I built visual story mapping when I was in Bali and when I was organizing the festival. So the idea of this business came because of the festival. So short story, I was like meeting a lot of inspiring people here in Bali, a lot of inspiring travelers, entrepreneurs, and stuff like that. And I was always with my notebook, kind of like mapping their stories. And I got the idea of like just sharing on social media, on Facebook, who wants to share here a story, so I can create creating an exhibition for the festival with all those mapping to inspire people by stories that I mapped. And that's why I posted this project on Facebook asking, okay, who wants to tell their story? So I received 200 people, like 200 messages, like in few days about the fact that, oh, I'm curious, what is it? Okay, I never heard about mind mapping. What is it? How do you map my story? How do you use storytelling to do that? And that's how I built visual story mapping. It was easier to not easier, but just it was kind of like I don't know the word in English. Sorry, but just the next step maybe of my journey to be an entrepreneur, just like by building this. So I'm sure I have to explain now what is it, what I'm doing exactly.
Yeah, tell us what it is. We'll get into a little bit of the details of how it works, and also tell us the business model, how it's a business.
Okay, the first person from the project I was listening the story was like really feeling comfortable with me. So she was sharing a lot of personal details, and that's when I realized that I was kind of acting like a coach or like a psychologist. And I was wondering, okay, so she's telling a story and I'm mapping a story at the same time, but why is it valuable for her to do that exercise with me? And does she thinking maybe about like paying me after, like for this exercise? And that's how I just built the entire business about the fact that like every single person said, okay, that's really valuable to have like this mapping at the end of the session, because when you see a coach or when you see a psychologist, you cannot like see the result at the end. Like you don't have anything tangible in your hands that you can just look at the end. And that's why it was really valuable for the people. They will have like a new perspective on their story, a new perspective on their project, on their idea. And that's how I just like, I'm going to make something from it, because people are just saying that's an amazing tool and that's an amazing way to visualize your everything in your life, every single topics, every thoughts that you have in your head, and you just like keep thinking about and just like driving you mad just because you're overthinking about it. And so that's why I was just like, it's going to be super valuable for people to just put their brain on the paper.
Why do you think people
Yeah.
feel so comfortable with you when you do these sessions?
I think first, I'm open-minded. I'm not judging anyone, and I don't assume that I have the answer and they don't. It's like a lot of people, like coaches or like, I don't know, they're like giving the answer to their clients. And for me, it's like, I'm not giving anything. I'm just there. I'm creating a space when they can share the emotion, their ideas, their fears, like everything. And I'm just going to be there for them. And I'm not going to say anything except if they ask me to do so. So I'm just like, I'm there to listen to them. And I'm also like, just by being kind of like the big sister, I'm like, I'm not seeing myself, I'm like superior or whatever. I'm like, I don't have like every single knowledge about everything. I'm just like offering something for them.
Cool. And I know that you do individuals, you do like a one-on-one. I know that you do also groups and corporate workshops. So tell us a little bit about how the business is structured.
So the main thing is the individual session. So it's like someone who is contacting me to do like a one session or maybe 2 or 3, depends of the topic. And during an hour or 2 hours, like most of the time it's like 2 hours, I'm listening to, we decide at the beginning of the session what's going to be the topic that the person wants to visualize on the map. So it can be they're working on a specific project and they need some clarification about it, or like they don't know what to do with their life. So we're just going to go through like who they are, what they love, why they're like making specific decision, what are their passion, like skills, talents, and everything. I'm like super afraid of creating something for my life. So just kind of like visualizing every single fear. So that's the main thing that I'm doing, is like having individual session with people who just, they need to have some clarification, structure, being more organized, or decide what's the main priorities in their life right now. So I'm helping them by creating those maps from them. And with the company, that was your other question, or just like the individual?
Yeah. How do you do a group session, or has a company hired you to map for their brand or their company as well?
Yeah. So the thing with companies, it's like, it's completely different. So the company will contact me for like a specific job, and we're going to decide together how long it's going to take, or how we can work together. So imagine like a company is contacting me to visualize their strategy in communication, just as an example. So maybe we're going to decide to talk about like the strategy like during an entire morning. So I'm just going to take notes and everything. And after, I can just create kind of a brainstorming plan, or like a map about like the strategy, or like every single details they have to think about, or like a map of their team and who is going to be responsible of like which task and everything. So it's really depends of the company, depends of what they want to visualize. And so that's when I work with company. And I'm also organizing workshop when I teach people to use mind mapping, kind of like to help them in their daily life, like personal and professional like life, and just to be more organized, more structured, and kind of reveal their potential. It's like, for me, using mind mapping help you to just visualize who you are, what you can do, what you can't do, and everything.
Brilliant. How do people find you? Where does the business come from largely?
Where, like, kind of my website and stuff like that?
Yeah, do people just Google around and find your website and then hire you directly from that?
Mostly these days, it's like because someone told them about me, because they had a session with me, or because they came to one of my talk, or because they met me, or like in a conference or whatever. But mostly when it's not like face to face, it's because of my website. with like you have every single details of everything that I do, how I built the business, like some example of the mapping that I'm doing, and so also like on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm like updating kind of every week, like some new content, like new mapping, new way to think, new way to just help you to reveal who you are and your potential by just visualizing everything. So yeah, website is the common thing, but it's like more and more now. It's like the first time I did a workshop was at my festival last year. Just like maybe because I came back from Bali just for the festival in 2016, and I got the idea of the business in Bali. So I was like, okay, when I will be back in Brussels, who is going to be interested by it? So that's why I decided to just do a small workshop at the festival, and a lot of people came, and they were like super. Yeah, they thought it was great. Like the tool was amazing to just facilitate their daily life, to organize everything. And after I started to organize some workshop at my place, and after it's like some different venue asked me, okay, that's really interesting what you're doing. So can you do it like in our shop or in our co-working space, or like in different place around Brussels and Paris, like in different city in Europe as well. And that's how like people knew about me. They were just like coming to my events, but more and more now it's like someone who is recommending me because they did a session and because they're like following me on different social media.
Cool. I think that's really valuable for people to hear. People are not just randomly finding you, but you're getting a lot of personal referrals. I find the same in my business. People that have gotten to know me through a talk or podcast or somehow there's a personal connection there frequently.
Yeah, it's like, I think like those last 2 weeks I was in like here in Bali, just because I did like maybe some so I'm working by Skype mostly these days, because when I'm in Bali it's like it's easier for me and everything. But I just received like maybe few requests from friends in Brussels who said, okay, I saw that you are in Bali, but I'm really interested to work with you. And one of my friends did a session with you, and she's just like super enthusiastic about like the next couple of months and just organizing everything. And it's great to just see that some people are so happy about their map that they're just willing to recommend you like to someone else.
Yeah, that's amazing. You have an army of people selling your product.
An army, an army. I don't know, but it's just like I'm happy with my few happy customers. I don't like the word customer. I don't like the word customer or clients. I need to find like a specific word, because I don't have the impression that I'm like offering something which I don't know. It's like, when I said that I'm like a big sister, it's because I don't like saying that I'm a coach or like I'm facilitating something. I'm like, no, I'm just a big sister who's going to help you to draw your life.
Cool. I'd love to get some of the basics for how we can do mind mapping at home, just to help visualize our own, like even if we're just planning our day or our week, or we're working through some specific business or travel idea, where should we start?
So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the basics of mind mapping. So mind mapping is like you need a main idea, a main topic. So imagine you're working on building your website, like your personal brand. So what do you need to think about when you're building your own website? So you're going to put the word website or like the name of your brand in the middle, and you're going to create some connection. And those connections can be like lines or like stuff who will just go kind of like branches as a tree. And so for the website, when you're thinking about your website, I'm just like, okay, I need to create the content. I need to buy a domain name, or I need to find a hosting system, and who is going to design my website, and how am I going to communicate about the existence of my website and how am I going to monetize. So all those ideas can be connection. And so what's magic with mind mapping is the fact that your brain doesn't work using lines. So, we are like used to write stories like first, and like when you do a to-do list, you have the thing at the top of the list, and like the last thing that you were thinking about is at the bottom of the list. And the thing is, you think that maybe because you thought about it like at the end and because it's at the bottom of the list, it's less important. So you're going to focus on like every single task. They are like on the top of the list. But with mind mapping, it's like everything is at the same level. So there is no like priority or like, so you can choose what's really important. So regarding of the website, you can just decide, okay, first I need to create the content. I need to write everything that I want to publish in my website. And after I can hire a designer. Who is going to be the designer? Am I designing the website by myself, or do I need someone? What's going to be my budget for it? And you can just create connection who will help you to just like cross everything at the end of the task. I don't know if it's clear, but I just like, normally I'm like drawing stuff when I'm explaining how it works.
When I was in grad school, I bought some mind mapping software for my iPad so that I could chart out my thesis. Do you ever use software or anything like that? Or are you doing it all on paper?
I'm doing all on paper because I'm a strong believer that we're like already over connected, and it's so valuable sometimes to just shut down my computer and my phone and take the time to do those maps on a piece of paper. I don't need anything else. I don't need to be connected. I don't need the Wi-Fi. I can just do it in the middle of nowhere in nature. And sometimes I think that my head is clearer when I'm like in the middle of nowhere and I'm not like with some kind of connection, distraction, like emails coming at the same time. And so, I'm a strong believer that I prefer the paper, and I never used a software. I never used an app. Every single time as someone is asking about it, I'm just going to say, okay, I know a lot of different ones. I can give you names of the one that you can use. Like, I didn't really try those apps, but I always look at how it works. And for me, it's too small. So using mind mapping is like seeing the big picture. So you cannot really see the big picture when you're using a small computer and the screen is like small. So you need to zoom all the time. So at the end, it's like you don't see the big picture. But if you use a paper, like a big one, it's amazing because everything is on the same piece of paper. Or you can use a wall as well and use Post-it and write those different ideas and tasks to accomplish, and like changing the place of the Post-it and like really create something with big enough for you to visualize how it's supposed to work and how it's supposed to be at the end. Cool.
I'm doing something similar right now as I'm writing my book with Post-its and organizing each chapter and moving them around. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
When you're leading a session for an individual, what are some of the questions that you really like to use to help guide the sessions?
Okay. Most of my clients, they are kind of in a transition in their life. So a little bit lost about what they want to do, a little bit lost about what they want to create. So my favorite question is, why are you getting up in the morning? And they're going to talk about like the thing that I want them to talk about is the why are you making a decision in your life? Why are you doing that stuff? Why are you passionate about this? And what is kind of your purpose, you know? It's like every single person needs to find what they're like really good at to be passionate about what they're doing. It's like if you want to have a work that you love, you need to find what you're good at, and you need to find what's your purpose at the end. So every single time when I'm asking that question, they are kind of like, I don't know, but I know, because I'm going to help them by using different questions as like, what is your added value? What are you really good at? Why are you making a difference in this world? And it's kind of like those really strong questions that some people don't want to ask themselves. But it's so important when you don't know who you are, when you don't know what to do anymore. So it's going to be like, what are your passions, and what is first like your next chapter, or are you living the life that you picture for yourself, as I said earlier.
When you do your own mapping, what's the most recent one you've done for yourself?
The last one, it was 2 days ago, and I'm kind of working on a new project for visual story mapping, and I wanted to map my entire journey of being the person that I am now. So kind of like every single steps that I pass by, or I don't know if it's correct.
Yeah.
Just like every single thing that I lived in the past 2 years, who helped me to realize who I am, why I'm doing that stuff, am I dreaming bigger enough, or everything. So I can create kind of a program to help people to realize themselves and to reveal who they are.
Cool.
So yeah, and it's at the end it wasn't so difficult, because it's just telling a story but writing the story at the same time. So I was just, okay, end of 2015, I was just like asking the question for myself, okay, what is my added value? Why am I really good at? It's like, what can I do better than the person sitting next to me? And when you ask those questions to yourself, it's just going to help you to just move forward. So it was the mapping that I did the last.
And what was the main insight that you got from that?
From the mapping?
Yeah.
So I think it's really amazing. It's you realize everything that you accomplished if you're doing a story mapping. So that's your story, that's what you did, and that's who you are right now, and that's where you've been. And it's kind of like putting yourself in front of a mirror with your past, with your luggage and your backpack with all your stories and kind of like failure and success and everything. And that's give you kind of like hope and like more confidence about yourself, and just help you to realize that you are someone and that you can create stuff. And that's kind of great to just have the possibility to see that, because most of the time a lot of people, they have the impression that they didn't accomplish anything. Or like, same as I said at the beginning of the interview about the fact that everyone has a story. It's like most of the people will say, no, I don't have a story, my life is boring and I don't have anything to tell. It's like, yeah, just think about it, really. Just take the time to think about it. If I just do your mapping, I'm sure I'm going to find some amazing story in your life. Like amazing anecdotes, like some stuff that you lived and you don't even know it was amazing, but just because you're going to tell about it to someone, and it's going to maybe inspire someone to do something with it. It's just, for me, everything can be inspiring. So having a mapping in front of your eyes is just going to inspire you to create something more meaningful, to be someone more creative or more ambitious or whatever. It's just, I can give you an example. I had a session like few months ago with someone who was really struggling with the mapping because it was reflecting the person she didn't want to be anymore. So she was talking a lot about her fears, the fact that she wasn't making any decision by herself. So she needed the approval of like her boyfriend, her mom, her dad, and everything. And normally the thing that I'm doing after the session is like 2 weeks after, I'm going to send an email, or I'm going to call the person and say, okay, did you look again at the mapping, and what's the input, and what did you create from the mapping? And she was like saying, I don't want to look at the mapping anymore because I don't like the person who is on the mapping. And I was like, but maybe, it's like, because you don't want to be that person anymore, it's because you want to create something, you want to be the master of your life, and you want to be someone else. So just take another piece of paper, a blank one, and just build the person that you want to be. Just create something new. And that was kind of like a great, not really an advice, but just she realized that, yeah, she has the control of being who she wanted to be. And the mapping was just helping her to realize that she didn't like the person that she was. And she just wanted to be someone, like not someone else, but just like being more open and more confident and like doing more stuff and creating more stuff for herself. So that was really nice.
Yeah, that's a great example. Thank you. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about yet, either with the storytelling festival or the mind mapping, that you think is important for us to mention?
Like in both of those activities, what's really important for me at the end is just like the reason why, like my why, like my purpose. Yeah. My purpose in this, like of doing, organizing the festival, of helping people to reveal who they are. It's just because I love to inspire people. For me, it's so important in this world to just, when you know something and when you discover something, you need to share the information. You need to share your discovery. You need to share the love that you receive from other people. So by organizing the festival, it's meeting amazing people and at the same time just building something that can be like meaningful for other people and inspiring. And with the visual story mapping, it's exactly the same. It's just inspiring people to be their best, to create something for themselves. And it's all about sharing the knowledge, sharing the light, and sharing what you love and what I love to do.
Brilliant. Carol, I've got two final questions that I ask all of my guests.
Okay.
The first one is, if you could change or add something to the world, what do you wish for the world to have?
More love. That's like really ubud, but no, the thing is like, yeah, for me, love is kind of like the solution, because people are like less and less confident, and they don't trust they can build something, and they don't trust they are loved enough to be supported, And so with the festival and with the mapping, what I'm like seeing most of the time is like people who need the support of their family and friends and the love of their own. And that's really important. So just like, let's be more in love, or like of people, of the life, or like everything that we can create.
Brilliant. And what's your definition of adventure?
My definition of adventure, when you build something for yourself, but outside of your comfort zone.
Perfect.
It's all about getting out of your comfort zone. So adventure is just like, yeah, go do something who will help you to see and be outside the box.
Carol, what's the best place for people to find you online, should you wish to be found?
So my website is my name. So it's www.carolineweiler.com.
You said that pretty much perfectly.
That's my name. So.
Okay.
And or you can use like the visual story mapping, which is kind of like the same website. So it's www.visualstorymapping.com. On Facebook and Instagram, it's Visual Story Mapping. And for the festival, it's Travel Storytelling Festival on Facebook, on Instagram, and the website is .com as well.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for the great interview. Had a really fun time and learned a lot.
Thank you.
All right. Another great episode with Caroline Weiler. I'm never going to get that right. till I learn French. Maybe that'll be this year. I really love how her business evolved from curiosity or from her interests, right? She started with this basic interest in storytelling and having a festival and getting people to travel. And they just thought, what would people enjoy? What would they find valuable? And then she and Sylvie created it. And she did the same with visual story mapping. The business model appears. How you're going to make money is discovered as you do the process. So it's not always clear the path, how you're going to get to making money, how you're going to make profitability. But getting started is the most important thing. And if you are thinking of starting a business, if you have something that you love to do, or you're really interested in getting out to the world to help people, whatever it is, one of my favorite parts of my day is coaching people. And coaching really is life-changing. You have this future, your default future. And then a coach comes along. I have lots of coaches myself. I think I've had 15 different coaches post-athletic career, before that even athletic coaches, that have really made an impact on my life. And I would love to explore the opportunity to make an impact in your life as well. So that means looking at what kind of future you can create, what kind of business and lifestyle you can create for yourself. So if that sounds like something you want to check out, you've got a free 30-minute session with me on offer for listening to this show. All you've got to do is email me, derek@derekloudermilk.com, or go to my website, and you'll find a place in the coaching page where you can book a time slot with me. There's a link to my personal calendar. Hope to chat. That's all for today's episode. So it's your turn to go out there and be adventurous.